The unexpected guest. The gentle hum of laboratory equipment was Dr. Sarah Chen's constant companion during her late-night research sessions at the Xenobiology Research Institute. At 32, she had already made a name for herself as Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien biology, though the theoretical part of her title had always frustrated her. Humanity had yet to make first contact, and her colleagues often joked that she was more likely to encounter Bigfoot than an actual alien species. The irony wasn't lost on her when, at precisely 11:43 p.m. on a routine Tuesday night, her lab's proximity sensors began screaming. Sarah's hands froze over her keyboard as she watched the readings spike off the charts. Something had just breached Earth's atmosphere and was heading straight for the Institute. Security Protocol Alpha 7 initiated, the AI system announced calmly. Unknown object approaching. Estimated time to impact, 3 minutes. Sarah's heart raced as she initiated emergency containment procedures. The Institute's dome shield hummed to life, its iridescent barrier spreading across the night sky. Whatever was coming, at least it would be contained. The object, sleek, silver, and about the size of a delivery van, broke through the clouds. Instead of crashing, it gracefully decelerated, touching down on the Institute's landing pad with the precision of a practiced pilot. Steam hissed from its surface as it cooled, revealing intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Dr. Chen, the AI's voice interrupted her thoughts. The object appears to be a vessel of artificial origin. No matches in any known database. Sarah grabbed her tablet and emergency kit, hands trembling with excitement as she headed for the landing pad. Years of theoretical work were about to become very, very practical. The vessel's surface rippled, and a door materialized from seemingly solid metal. Sarah held her breath as a figure emerged, tall, humanoid, but decidedly alien. Its skin had a crystalline quality, shifting between deep purple and midnight blue, with patterns that mimicked a star-filled galaxy. 4 arms emerged from an elegant torso, and its head was adorned with what appeared to be living crystals that chimed softly with each movement. "Greetings, Earth scientist," the alien spoke, its voice resonating like wind through crystal chimes. "I am Khazar Valerian, diplomatic envoy of the Crystalline Concordat. I come seeking asylum." Sarah's scientific training kicked in, helping her maintain composure despite her racing heart. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, xenobiologist. Welcome to Earth. Did you say asylum?" Khazar's crystalline features shifted, creating patterns that Sarah interpreted as distress. "Yes, I regret arriving unannounced, but circumstances left me no choice. My people are entering our centennial mating season, and the alien paused, crystals chiming in what seemed like embarrassment. "I am not ready for the arrangements my family has made." Before Sarah could respond, every screen in the facility lit up with an emergency broadcast. "Attention all Earth citizens. Due to an unprecedented diplomatic situation, Earth has entered emergency lockdown. All interplanetary travel is suspended. Duration, unknown. This is not a drill." Sarah's tablet pinged with an incoming transmission. The holographic display showed a magnificent crystalline being, more elaborate and intimidating than Khazar. "Attention Earth facility," the being announced. "I am High Counselor Valerian of the Crystalline Concordat. The being who has landed at your facility is my child, who has fled their ceremonial mating obligations. By intergalactic law, we are initiating a Level 1 quarantine of your planet until this situation is resolved. Any attempt to aid or hide Khazar will be considered an act of war." The transmission cut off, leaving Sarah staring at Khazar, whose crystalline form had dulled to a muted blue. "I apologize," Khazar said softly. "I did not intend to involve your planet in our internal matters." Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing through the implications. She was now Earth's de facto ambassador in what could become an intergalactic incident, trapped in a facility with an alien refugee during their species' mating season, and responsible for preventing an interstellar war. Well, she said, managing a smile, I always wanted to study alien biology up close. Though I admit, I didn't expect it to happen quite like this. Khazar's crystals chimed in what might have been relief. You are not angry. Angry? No, terrified. A little excited. Absolutely. Sarah gestured toward the lab. Come on. If we're going to be locked down together, we might as well make the most of it. I have about 1,000,000 questions about your biology, and it seems we have time. As they walked to the lab, Sarah's tablet began displaying readings from Khazar's presence. The data was unlike anything in her theoretical models. Despite the diplomatic crisis they were now embroiled in, she couldn't help but feel a thrill of scientific excitement. Khazar, she asked, your species' mating season, what exactly should I expect? The alien's crystals shifted to a deep crimson. That is complicated and potentially problematic for your planet's inhabitants. Sarah stopped walking. Problematic how? During our mating season, we release certain energetic frequencies. They can have unexpected effects on other life forms, effects that can be quite intense. Sarah closed her eyes and counted to 10. When she opened them, she allowed herself a small laugh. You know, I always told my colleagues that first contact would change everything we thought we knew about biology. I just didn't expect it to involve an alien mating season and planetary quarantine. Khazar's crystals chimed in what Sarah was beginning to recognize as amusement. Dr. Chen, I believe this situation will be educational for both our species. As they entered the lab, emergency alerts continued to flash across the screens. Earth was locked down, she was trapped with an alien fugitive, and somewhere up there, an entire civilization was waiting to see what they would do next. Sarah had wanted to make history with her xenobiology research. She just hadn't expected it to happen quite like this. The night stretched ahead of them, full of possibilities and potential disasters. But as Sarah began setting up her instruments to study her unexpected guest, she couldn't help but feel that this was exactly where she was meant to be. Sometimes the biggest discoveries came from the most unexpected situations, and she was determined to make the most of this one diplomatic crisis, alien mating season, and all. The first signs. 3 days into Earth's quarantine, Sarah noticed the first signs that something was different. The laboratory plants, normally well-behaved specimens used for comparative biology studies, had begun growing at an impossible rate. A small fern she'd kept on her desk for years suddenly sprouted 3 feet overnight, its fronds curling towards Khazar's temporary quarters like sunflowers tracking the sun. Khazar, Sarah called out, examining the accelerated growth patterns. I think we need to talk about these energetic frequencies you mentioned. The crystalline being emerged from their designated chamber, their color shifting to what Sarah had learned was embarrassment, a swirling mix of pink and violet. The crystals adorning their form chimed softly, creating a melodic harmony that seemed to make the air itself vibrate. I was hoping to delay this conversation, Khazar admitted, all 4 arms moving in complex patterns that Sarah had begun to recognize as nervous gestures. You see, during our mating season, my species releases what you might call biocrystalline resonance waves. They're meant to attract compatible mates and enhance certain aspects of life. Sarah gestured at the now jungle-like laboratory. Enhance? My plants look like they're trying to stage a botanical revolution. That's just the beginning, Khazar's crystals dimmed slightly. The resonance affects different organisms in different ways. Plants grow, animals become more energetic and sentient beings. They trailed off, crystals flickering rapidly through various hues. As if on cue, Sarah's tablet lit up with incoming reports from around the institute. The laboratory mice were exhibiting unprecedented levels of activity. The institute's cat, normally a lazy creature that spent its days sleeping in sunbeams, had organized the entire mouse population into what appeared to be a synchronized dance routine. Khazar, Sarah said slowly, exactly how far do these resonance waves reach? The alien's form shifted uncomfortably. With our normal atmospheric composition, perhaps a few meters. But in Earth's atmosphere, they gestured to one of Sarah's monitoring screens, which showed rapidly expanding circles of energy emanating from the Institute. The entire city, Sarah breathed, watching the patterns spread. The resonance is affecting the entire city. Reports began flooding in from across the metropolitan area. Gardens were exploding with growth, pets were exhibiting unusual behaviors, and people were reporting feeling different, more energetic, more creative, more everything. I must admit, Kazar said, the crystals shifting to a deep blue of concern. This is not how I expected my rejection of arranged mating to affect your world. In our society, the resonance is celebrated, a time of renewal and connection. But here, Sarah was already running calculations on her tablet. We need to understand exactly what these frequencies are doing. Kazar, I need you to tell me everything about your species' mating biology, and I mean everything. Over the next few hours, Kazar explained the intricacies of crystalline biology. Their species, it turned out, didn't reproduce through physical contact, but through a complex harmony of crystalline frequencies. During mating season, compatible pairs would align their resonances, creating new patterns that would eventually crystallize into offspring. Fascinating, Sarah muttered, recording everything. But why run from an arranged harmonizing? Surely it's not that different from choosing your own partner. Kazar's crystals dulled to a deep purple. In our society, harmonizing is more than reproduction. It's a permanent joining of resonances. The arranged partner chosen for me, their frequency would have overshadowed mine completely. I would have lost myself. Sarah looked up from her notes, suddenly understanding. You didn't run from mating, you ran from being erased. Yes, Kazar's voice was barely a whisper. My family's position requires certain alliances. The partner chosen would have created offspring with perfect resonance for leadership, but at the cost of my individual frequency. As they talked, Sarah's instruments continued recording the changes spreading through the city. People were reporting increased empathy, heightened creativity, and a strange ability to understand each other without words. The resonance waves weren't just affecting biology, they were changing how humans connected with each other. This could change everything, Sarah realized, examining the data. Kazar, your species' resonance isn't just affecting growth patterns, it's enhancing our ability to connect, to understand each other. It's like you're teaching humanity to harmonize. Kazar's crystals brightened. Perhaps this is why I was drawn to Earth. Your species has such potential for harmony, yet you often struggle to achieve it. The resonance might be showing you possibilities you hadn't imagined. Their discussion was interrupted by another incoming transmission, this time from the City Council. Instead of the expected panic, they were reporting unprecedented levels of cooperation and community engagement. Crime rates had dropped to zero. People were spontaneously organizing neighborhood events. The whole city was becoming one harmonious community. We might have accidentally started a social revolution, Sarah said, half laughing, half worried. Though I'm not sure how your family will react to their mating resonance being used to enhance human society. Sarah's crystals shimmered with what Sarah now recognized as hope. Perhaps this is the solution we need. If we can show them that my resonance has found a different purpose, a way to help another species grow. They might accept your choice to remain independent, Sarah finished, excitement building. Kazar, we need to document everything. Every change, every improvement, every new connection formed. We're not just dealing with alien biology anymore, we're witnessing the evolution of human connection. As they worked through the night, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the irony. She had spent years studying theoretical alien biology, hoping to understand how different species might interact. Now she was watching her own species transform through that very interaction, all because one alien refused to let their unique resonance be silenced. The plants continued to grow, the animals continued their unusual behaviors, and across the city, people were learning to harmonize in ways they never had before. It wasn't the first contact scenario anyone had expected, But perhaps it was exactly what humanity needed, a lesson in harmony from a being brave enough to protect their own unique frequency. The resonance crisis. 1 week into the quarantine, Sarah woke to find her laboratory bathed in an otherworldly glow. Kizza's crystalline form was pulsing with intense light, their usual shimmer now a brilliant aurora that filled the room. The air itself seemed to vibrate with an energy that made Sarah's skin tingle. "Kizza," she called out, concerned. "Are you all right?" The alien's response came in waves of color rather than words, their crystals cycling through patterns Sarah had never seen before. When they finally spoke, their voice was strained. "The peak, it's beginning earlier than expected. Earth's atmosphere, it's accelerating the process." Sarah quickly checked her instruments. The resonance waves had increased exponentially overnight, and the readings were off the charts. "Your mating season is intensifying," she realized. "The harmonics are amplifying in our atmosphere." Outside the institute, the city had transformed. Trees had grown to impossible heights, their branches intertwining to form natural archways over streets. Gardens had become magical forests of oversized flowers that seemed to pulse in sync with Kizza's resonance. But it wasn't just the plants anymore. The very architecture of the city appeared to be responding, buildings developing crystal-like formations that caught and reflected the morning light. "This is beyond anything we anticipated," Sarah muttered, reviewing the latest data. "The resonance isn't just affecting living things anymore, it's restructuring matter at a molecular level." Kizza's form fluctuated, their crystals chiming in distress. "In our world, the peak season is contained within special chambers. The resonance is too powerful to be released openly, but here, they gestured helplessly at the transforming world outside." Sarah's tablet exploded with notifications. Reports were coming in from across the city of people experiencing intense empathic connections. Strangers could feel each other's emotions. Children were speaking in harmonics. Musicians reported hearing colors and seeing sounds. The human brain is adapting to process the resonance, Sarah realized, scanning the medical reports. "We're developing new sensory capabilities. Kizza, your species' mating frequency is triggering an evolutionary leap in human consciousness." But with evolution came complications. The increased empathic ability was overwhelming for many. Hospitals reported people struggling to maintain their individual identities amidst the flood of shared consciousness. The harmony that had seemed so beautiful was becoming too intense, too all-consuming. "We need to find a way to modulate the frequency," Sarah said, already moving to her equipment. "Something that can help humans process these changes without losing themselves." Kizza's crystals pulsed with recognition. "Like what I was trying to avoid in my arranged harmonizing, the loss of individual frequency in the greater resonance." They worked frantically, combining Sarah's knowledge of human biology with Kizza's understanding of crystalline harmonics. The aliens' own struggle to maintain independence became the key to helping humanity adapt to their evolving consciousness. "Look at this," Sarah pointed to a new pattern emerging in her data. "Human brains are naturally generating a protective frequency, like a psychic immune response. If we can amplify that..." Kizza's crystals brightened. "We could help your species maintain individual harmony while still participating in the greater resonance." Their breakthrough came just as the city reached a crisis point. The shared consciousness had become so intense that people were losing their sense of self, melding into a collective mind that threatened to erase individual identity. Sarah and Kizza worked together to modify the Institute's containment field, turning it into a resonance modulator. Kizza channeled their own resistance to forced harmony, using it to shape the field's frequency. Sarah's understanding of human neurology helped tune it to protect individual consciousness while allowing the benefits of enhanced connection to continue. As they activated the modulator, its effects spread across the city in a wave of gentle light. People reported a sudden sense of relief. The overwhelming flood of shared consciousness became a manageable flow. They could choose when to connect and when to maintain boundaries. "It's working," Sarah breathed, watching the readings stabilize. We found the balance between connection and independence. Khazar's crystals shimmered with pride. Your species has accomplished in days what mine took centuries to learn, the art of harmonic balance. But their success brought new complications. The High Council of the Crystalline Concordat had been monitoring everything, and they were not pleased. A new transmission arrived, the holographic image of High Counselor Valerian filling the laboratory with stern crystalline light. "You have violated our most sacred protocols," the High Counselor announced. "Not only has Khazar exposed primitive beings to mating resonance, but you have dared to modify it. This is unprecedented." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "With respect, High Counselor, what's unprecedented is the evolution we've witnessed. Your son's resonance hasn't just changed us, it's helped us find a way to connect without losing ourselves. Isn't that what harmony should be about?" Khazar moved to stand beside her, their crystals shining with newfound confidence. "Father, I ran from an arranged harmony because I feared losing my unique frequency. Instead, I found a way to help another species learn to balance individual and collective harmony. Isn't that worth more than any political alliance?" The High Counselor's crystalline form shifted through complex patterns as they considered this. The entire laboratory seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the response that would determine not just Khazar's fate, but the future of human crystalline relations. Outside, the transformed city glittered in the sunlight, its new crystal growths and enhanced population a testament to what was possible when different species learned to harmonize while maintaining their unique frequencies. Whatever the High Counselor decided, humanity had already been changed forever, and perhaps, Sarah thought, that was exactly what both their species needed. Evolution's symphony. The High Counselor's response came in the form of a massive crystalline ship materializing in Earth's atmosphere, its presence sending ripples through the already transformed city. Sarah watched through the Institute's windows as the vessel cast prismatic light across the crystal-adorned buildings below, its size dwarfing anything humanity had ever constructed. "The harmonious apex," Khazar whispered, their crystals dimming with anxiety. "Father's personal vessel. I haven't seen it since my emergence ceremony." Sarah's instruments were going haywire, detecting energy signatures that defied known physics. "Your father's ship. It's amplifying the resonance patterns somehow." The effect was immediate and dramatic. The crystalline growths throughout the city began to sing, literally sing, each structure emanating a different note that combined into an otherworldly symphony. People stopped in their tracks, swaying to music that touched something deeper than their physical senses. "The Song of Judgment," Khazar explained, their own crystals vibrating in response. "When major decisions affect the Concordat, the Council uses harmonic resonance to evaluate the situation. They're testing Earth's worthiness." Sarah watched in amazement as the city's transformation accelerated. The crystal formations weren't just growing anymore, they were evolving, developing complex patterns that mimicked both human architecture and crystalline technology. The plants that had overgrown during the past week began interweaving with the crystals, creating hybrid structures that were neither fully organic nor mineral. "Your father isn't just judging us," Sarah realized, analyzing the new data streaming across her screens. "He's pushing our adaptation to its limits, seeing how far we can go." Khazar's form flickered with understanding, a test of compatibility. If Earth can withstand and adapt to the full power of crystalline resonance, then we prove ourselves worthy of contact with your civilization, Sarah finished. But this level of change, it's happening too fast. The human mind can only adapt so quickly. As if in response to her concerns, reports began flooding in of people experiencing intense psychological effects. The enhanced empathic abilities were evolving into something more. Humans were beginning to perceive reality the way the crystalline beings did, seeing the fundamental harmonies that connected all matter. "We need to help them," Sarah said, already moving to modify their resonance modulator. "The modulation field we created, we can use it to help people process these new perceptions." Khazar joined her at the controls, their four arms moving in complex patterns as they adjusted crystalline frequencies. If we can sync the modulator with the harmonious apex's resonance. They worked frantically, combining their understanding of both species biology. The city had become a vast experiment in accelerated evolution, with millions of lives hanging in the balance. The song from the crystalline growths grew more complex, weaving together human emotions and crystalline harmonics into something entirely new. Suddenly, Sarah noticed a pattern in the data she hadn't seen before. "Khazar, look at this. The human brain's protective frequency we discovered. It's not just adapting to the resonance anymore. It's creating its own." Khazar's crystals pulsed with excitement. "Impossible. Your species is generating harmonic patterns that mirror our own. This has never happened in any contact scenario in our history." The High Counselor's voice filled the laboratory, though no hologram appeared this time. Instead, their words seemed to emerge from the crystalline structures themselves. "You understand now, my child, why I arranged for you to harmonize with a political ally. Our resonance can change worlds. It must be controlled, directed, contained." But Sarah was already shaking her head, her fingers flying over her tablet. "No, you're wrong. Look at what's happening. Humans aren't just being changed by the resonance. We're learning to create our own. We're not being controlled or contained. We're evolving to join the symphony." The data supported her argument. All across the city, humans were unconsciously generating harmonic frequencies that interacted with the crystalline resonance, creating new patterns neither species had seen before. The transformation wasn't being imposed from outside anymore. It was emerging from within. Khazar's crystals blazed with sudden clarity. "Father, this is what I was trying to tell you. True harmony can't be forced or arranged. It has to grow naturally, finding its own balance between individual and collective resonance." The city's crystal symphony reached a crescendo, human-generated harmonics, weaving seamlessly with crystalline frequencies. The result was beautiful beyond words, a perfect blend of biological and mineral, emotion and logic, individual and collective. "Extraordinary," the High Counselor's voice resonated through the crystals. "In all our millennia of existence, we have never encountered a species capable of generating their own harmonics. Your resistance to the arranged harmonizing, Khazar, perhaps it was not rebellion, but instinct. You sensed a greater harmony waiting to be discovered." Sarah watched her readings in amazement as the human-generated frequencies stabilized, creating a sustainable pattern that complemented rather than copied the crystalline resonance. "We're not just surviving the transformation," she realized. "We're completing it. Our species are creating something entirely new together." The harmonious apex's presence seemed to shift, its energy patterns changing from testing to nurturing. The crystal growths throughout the city stopped their aggressive expansion, settling into a stable symbiosis with Earth's existing structures and life forms. "The test is concluded," the High Counselor announced. "But I suspect the real changes are only beginning. Khazar, your defiance has led us to a discovery that will reshape both our civilizations. The question now becomes, are we ready for what comes next?" Sarah looked at Khazar, whose crystalline form was now pulsing with a combination of their native frequencies and the new human-generated harmonics. The alien who had arrived seeking asylum had become a bridge between species, their personal quest for independence leading to an evolutionary leap for both civilizations. Outside, the transformed city glittered with possibility, its crystal organic hybrid structures housing a population that was learning to exist in both physical and harmonic realms. The future would bring challenges, certainly, but they would face them together, two species learning to sing in harmony while maintaining their own unique melodies. Harmonic convergence. As Earth entered its third week of quarantine, the Institute buzzed with activity. Representatives from major world governments had gathered, virtually of course, to witness what the media was calling the harmonic convergence. The High Counselor's ship maintained its position of the city, its crystalline surface now reflecting not just sunlight, but the new frequencies emanating from Earth's transformed population. The readings are unprecedented, Sarah announced to the assembled virtual audience, her holographic presentation showing the intricate dance of human and crystalline frequencies. What began as an accidental exposure to alien mating resonance has triggered a fundamental shift in human consciousness and evolution. Khazar stood beside her, their crystalline form now permanently altered by interaction with human harmonics. Where once their crystals had shown singular colors to express emotions, they now displayed complex patterns that combined both species' frequency ranges. My kind has always believed we were the only beings capable of harmonic manipulation, Khazar explained to the mesmerized audience. We were wrong. Humans didn't just adapt to our resonance, you've created your own harmonic language. The High Counselor's voice resonated through the crystal structures that had become a permanent part of Earth's architecture. The Council has reviewed the data. The implications are profound. We believed our mating resonance needed to be contained, controlled. Instead, it has become a catalyst for something greater. Sarah brought up new data streams, showing the ongoing changes in human society. The enhanced empathic abilities had stabilized, no longer overwhelming but integrated. People were learning to control their newly developed harmonic senses, using them to communicate in ways that transcended traditional language. The crystal growths throughout our cities aren't just decorative, Sarah explained, highlighting detailed scans. They're functioning as a natural communication network, amplifying and distributing both human and crystalline frequencies. We're seeing the emergence of a genuine harmonic infrastructure. But the most remarkable changes weren't physical. Crime rates had plummeted to near zero. It was virtually impossible to maintain hostile intentions when everyone could sense each other's emotional harmonics. Mental health facilities reported breakthrough treatments using crystalline resonance therapy. Schools were developing new teaching methods that combined traditional education with harmonic learning. The question now, the High Counselor's resonance carried a note of curiosity, is how to proceed. Our civilizations are now irrevocably linked. The harmonics your species has developed are compatible with ours in ways we never imagined possible. Khazar stepped forward, their crystals pulsing with purpose. Father, I believe my rebellion was guided by more than just personal desire. Something in me sensed this potential. The arranged harmonizing you planned would have closed this door before we ever knew it existed. Sarah pulled up a new set of projections. Our scientists have been studying the combined frequencies. We believe this is just the beginning. The human crystalline harmonic integration shows potential for advances in everything from medicine to space travel. We're seeing hints that the combined resonance could even enable faster-than-light communication. The virtual audience erupted in excited discussion. World leaders who had been skeptical of the changes were now leaning forward, their expressions intense with interest. The potential implications were staggering. There is another matter to consider. The High Counselor's resonance took on the formal tone. Khazar's mating season approaches its conclusion. By our laws, a choice must be made. Sarah felt her heart skip. Despite everything that had happened, she had almost forgotten the original crisis that had brought Khazar to Earth. The aliens' arranged harmonizing was still technically pending. But Khazar's crystals blazed with newfound confidence. I have made my choice, Father. I choose to remain on Earth as an ambassador. My resonance has found its true harmony here, not in an arranged political alliance, but in bridging our species. The High Counselor's response came as a shower of crystalline lights throughout the room. The Council agrees. Your unique frequency has proven more valuable in this role than in any arranged harmonizing. We hereby appoint you as the first crystalline ambassador to Earth. Sarah's instruments detected a shift in the city's harmonic patterns, a wave of joy and celebration spreading through the human population as they sensed the positive outcome through their new abilities. The crystal structures sang in response, creating a spontaneous symphony of human emotion and crystalline resonance. There will be challenges ahead, Sarah addressed the virtual assembly. We're still learning to control these new abilities. The integration of our species' technologies and cultures will take time. But we've already proven that harmony doesn't mean conformity. It means finding ways for different frequencies to work together. Khazar's crystals shimmered with what Sarah now recognized as pride and affection. My people once believed that perfect harmony meant perfect alignment, all frequencies merged into one. Earth has taught us that true harmony is more complex. It's about maintaining individual notes while creating something greater together. The High Counselor's ship released a cascade of light, initiating what Khazar explained was a formal recognition sequence. "The quarantine is lifted," the council leader announced. "But we suspect Earth will never be quite the same. You have shown us that evolution is not about dominance, but about finding new ways to resonate together." As the virtual assembly concluded, Sarah stood with Khazar at the Institute's window, watching their transformed cities sparkle in the setting sun. Human children played in parks where crystal formations created natural jungle gyms, their laughter harmonizing with the singing structures. Adults went about their business, their new harmonic senses adding depth to every interaction. "You know," Sarah said, smiling at her alien friend, "when you first crashed into my life, I thought I was getting the chance to study alien biology. Instead, I helped write a new chapter in human evolution." Khazar's crystals chimed with laughter. "And I thought I was just avoiding an unwanted mating arrangement. Instead, I found a whole new way for our species to harmonize." Above them, the High Counselor's ship began preparations for departure, but its presence had already left an indelible mark on Earth. The planet would never return to its pre-contact state, but perhaps that was the point. Sometimes the most beautiful songs came from the most unexpected combinations of notes. Symphony of Two Worlds. 1 month after the lifting of the quarantine, Earth had become unrecognizable, yet somehow more itself than ever before. The integration of crystalline technology and human innovation had created something entirely new, a civilization that existed simultaneously in physical and harmonic realms. Sarah stood in her newly redesigned laboratory, now a seamless blend of traditional scientific equipment and crystalline resonance chambers. Khazar worked beside her, their 4 arms dancing through holographic displays as they monitored the global harmonic network they had helped create. "The latest numbers are remarkable," Sarah said, reviewing the data. "Over 80% of Earth's population has developed stable harmonic abilities. The remaining 20% are showing gradual development at their own pace." Khazar's crystals shimmered with satisfaction, and not a single case of forced evolution. "Your species continues to surprise us with its ability to adapt while maintaining individual choice." The Institute had become Earth's first human crystalline research center, with scientists from both species working together to understand and develop their shared potential. The accidental exposure to mating resonance had opened doors no one had imagined possible. "Ambassador Khazar," a harmonic message rippled through the crystal structures. "The first group of human students is ready to begin advanced resonance training on the crystalline homeworld." Khazar's form brightened with pride. Just 6 months ago, they had been a fugitive from an arranged harmonizing. Now they were overseeing the first cultural exchange program between their civilizations. Sarah pulled up the student profiles on a crystal display. "It's amazing how quickly humans have taken to harmonic education. These students have already developed resonance patterns that would have taken your species generations to achieve naturally." "Perhaps," Khazar mused, "that is why our species were meant to meet. Your adaptability, combined with our established harmonic knowledge." Their crystals pulsed with thoughtful colors. A notification chimed through their harmonic link. The High Council was calling. The air shimmered as the council members materialized in holographic form, their crystalline bodies more elaborate than ever. "We bring significant news," the High Counselor announced, their resonance carrying undertones of excitement rarely heard in formal communications. "The human-generated harmonics have begun influencing our own evolution." Sarah and Khazar exchanged startled looks. "Influencing how?" Sarah asked, already reaching for her instruments. The council members' crystals shifted through complex patterns. Our youngest generation is displaying new abilities, emotional resonance patterns we previously considered impossible for our species. They are developing what you might call empathy. Quasar's crystals nearly stopped shimmering in shock, but our species has always processed everything through pure harmonic logic. Emotional resonance was considered a primitive trait. No longer, the High Counselor's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. It seems exposure to human frequencies has awakened dormant potential in our own genetic code. We are feeling. Sarah's instruments were capturing everything, documenting what appeared to be a simultaneous evolution of both species. Humans were developing greater harmonic control and logical processing, while the crystalline beings were discovering emotional depth they never knew they possessed. The universe has a sense of humor, Sarah remarked, studying the parallel development patterns. Your people sought to arrange harmonious matches for political advantage, while humans often struggled to balance emotion and reason. Now we're each gaining what the other had. Quasar's crystals chimed with laughter, a sound that would have been impossible for their species before contact with Earth. Perhaps this is true harmony, not the dominance of one frequency over another, but the natural evolution of both. The High Council shared data showing similar developments across their civilization. Young crystalline beings were forming emotional bonds, while their logical abilities remained intact. Meanwhile, humans were learning to process complex harmonic equations through their new senses while maintaining their emotional depth. There is more, the High Counselor announced. The combined human crystalline resonance has begun affecting space-time itself. We are detecting new harmonic frequencies in the fabric of reality. Sarah's excitement peaked as she analyzed the new data. The dimensional barriers, they're becoming permeable to our combined frequencies. We're not just communicating across space anymore, we're opening doorways. The implications were staggering. The accidental exposure to alien mating resonance hadn't just changed their species, it had unlocked new fundamental laws of physics. The universe itself was responding to their harmonic evolution. We propose, the High Counselor's resonance carried formal weight, the establishment of the first interspecies harmonic academy, a place where both our kinds can learn and evolve together, exploring these new frontiers of existence. Quasar's crystals blazed with joy as they turned to Sarah. Will you help me lead it? You are the first to understand the potential of our combined frequencies. Sarah smiled, feeling the resonance of possibility humming through the crystal structures around them. From reluctant roommates during mating season to founding an interspecies academy, we've come a long way, Quasar. The High Council's holograms shimmered with approval as plans were made. The academy would be built in Earth's orbit, a floating crystal city where humans and crystalline beings could live and learn together. It would stand as a testament to what was possible when different species chose to harmonize rather than compete. As the council members faded away, Sarah and Quasar stood at their laboratory window, watching the sunset paint the crystal-transformed city in rainbow hues. The buildings sang their evening symphony, a perfect blend of human emotion and crystalline precision. You know, Sarah said, when you first arrived, I thought I was getting the story a lifetime, Earth's first contact with alien life. Instead, we got something better. Quasar's crystals pulsed with curiosity. What's that? The beginning of a whole new story, one we're writing together, note by note, harmony by harmony. Above them, the first stars began to appear, their light reflecting off the crystal spires that now reached towards space. Somewhere up there, their academy would soon float among the stars, a beacon of possibility for both their species. The universe was changing, evolving, harmonizing in ways no one had predicted. And it all started because one alien chose to run away from an arranged mating, crash landing into the life of a human scientist who dared to imagine something more. That accidental roommate situation had evolved into something greater, a symphony of two worlds, playing together in perfect, unexpected harmony. The end was really just the beginning, and the music of their combined civilizations was only starting to play. The new frequency, 1 year after the historic first contact, the Interspecies Harmonic Academy floated majestically in Earth's orbit, its crystalline structures catching and refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. The massive structure resembled a blooming flower made of living crystal, each petal housing different research facilities and living quarters for both human and crystalline students. Sarah stood in the central observatory, watching Earth rotate below. The planet's surface glittered with the now familiar crystal growths that had become integral to human civilization. As they approached, their crystalline form more complex than ever, having evolved alongside their human colleagues. The final data is in from the Global Harmonics Survey, Sarah announced, bringing up a holographic display. We've confirmed a new phenomenon, the birth of the first human children with natural crystalline properties. Khazar's form pulsed with excitement, and our newest generation continues to develop emotional resonance. The barriers between our species are becoming more fluid with each passing day. The Academy had become more than just a school, it was an incubator for the next stage of both species evolution. In the massive laboratories surrounding them, human and crystalline scientists worked together, exploring the implications of their continuing transformation. Ambassador Khazar, Dr. Chen, a young human student, rushed in, her skin showing the faint iridescent shimmer that had become common among those most adapted to harmonic frequencies. We've detected something in the deep space resonance arrays. They followed her to the Quantum Harmonics Lab, where a team of mixed species researchers huddled around a crystal console. The display showed waves of completely new frequencies emanating from distant star systems. It's as we suspected, Sarah breathed, analyzing the patterns. Our combined resonance isn't just affecting our two species, it's radiating out into space, awakening similar potential in other civilizations. Khazar's crystals chimed thoughtfully. The universe itself is harmonizing. What began as my escape from an arranged mating has triggered a cosmic symphony. The High Council materialized in their usual holographic form, but something was different. Their crystalline bodies now showed traces of organic patterns, just as many humans had begun developing crystalline aspects. We've received contact requests from 17 previously unknown civilizations, the High Counselor announced. All of them have begun experiencing harmonic awakening after exposure to our combined frequencies. Sarah quickly pulled up the data from these new contacts. Each species was unique, but all showed signs of developing abilities that bridged the gap between organic and crystalline life. The evolutionary leap that had started on Earth was spreading across the galaxy. There's something else, Khazar said, their crystals pulsing with intense patterns. The space-time fluctuations we detected, they're not just doorways. They're the universe's own harmonic frequency. The implications hit Sarah like a wave. We're not just communicating across space anymore. We're tapping into the fundamental resonance of reality itself. The combining of our species wasn't an accident. It was the key to understanding the universe's own song. The Academy's crystal structures began to sing in response to this revelation, a complex melody that combined human emotion, crystalline precision, and something else, something older and deeper than either civilization. The ancient texts, the High Counselor's resonance carried a note of awe, spoke of a time when all beings could hear the universal symphony. We thought they were myths, but perhaps we're remembering something our species once knew, Sarah finished. And it took our accidental harmonizing to reawaken that knowledge. Khazar moved to the central console, their four arms dancing across the crystal controls. Look at this pattern. Every species that's awakening shows the same basic harmonic structure. It's like we're all instruments in a universal orchestra, just waiting to remember our parts. The Academy students had gathered around, humans and crystalline beings standing together, their combined resonance adding to the growing symphony. Some of the humans had developed crystal-like growths that chimed in harmony with their thoughts, while young crystalline beings displayed organic patterns that pulsed with emotion. We need to prepare, Sarah said, her mind racing with possibilities. If more civilizations are awakening, they'll need guidance. The Academy will have to expand. The High Councilor's form shimmered with approval. We propose establishing similar academies throughout the galaxy, each one a beacon for awakening species, helping them understand and control their new abilities. Khazar's crystals blaze with sudden inspiration. Not just academies, harmonic nexus points, places where different species can come together, learn from each other, contribute their unique notes to the universal symphony. Sara watched as new data streamed in from across the galaxy. Each awakening civilization brought its own unique frequency to the growing harmony. What had started as an alien mating season gone wrong had become the catalyst for a cosmic renaissance. You know what this means, don't you? Sara turned to Khazar, smiling. Your rebellion against arranged harmonizing didn't just save your individual frequency, it helped the entire universe remember its song. Khazar's crystals chimed with laughter, and your willingness to help a strange alien hiding from mating season opened the door to all of this. Perhaps the universe has a sense of humor after all. Above them, the Academy's crystal spires reached toward the stars, their song joining the growing universal symphony. Below, Earth glittered with the promise of continued evolution. And all around them, throughout the galaxy, new voices were joining the chorus, each adding their unique note to the grand composition. The story that began with an alien seeking asylum had become something far greater, a reminder that the most beautiful harmonies often start with a single unexpected note. As Sara and Khazar stood together in their orbital academy, watching new civilizations awaken to the universal song, they understood that this wasn't really an ending at all. It was just the first movement in a symphony that would play forever, growing richer and more complex with each new voice that joined the chorus. The universe was remembering how to sing, and every being, every species, had a part to play in its eternal song. And somewhere, in the quantum harmonics of reality itself, the original resonance that had started it all, a simple alien mating frequency, continued to echo, reminding everyone that the greatest discoveries often come from the most unexpected places. The future was an unwritten song, and they were all composers now.